Hello everyone, it is my 100th day, and there we go. 4 times we've seen this now. So I want to give a brief overview of what this game is about. Now, we have a couple of different things going on. If you look at the top left, we actually have a seasons going on, and we have about a month left of that. These top two left buttons are related to the seasons. This one is all of the mines, the epic mines. Basically, this gives you the scoring. The top three win in green, and if there's a tie, make sure you're in that top three, not fourth place. But basically, the rewards are different depending on where you are, and looks like I am currently just out of the top 50 at 78th. Now, these are the rewards you'll get in those, and they literally count down from here. You only get the red crystals in the Mythic League. So if you're looking for those, this is where you get them, or in special events. But basically, look at where you are, and you can see the rewards from there. And you'll notice that you have several different players. So if we go to the top one here and look at ratings, there's several different people in here in this range. Now you'll notice if you have a Mythic League at 181, you'll notice 223. A lot of people may be stopping there because if you do one level plus the 20 hard levels, you'll get to 223. How you get higher than that, as you do it again, you just end on that 20 and redo it, and as you see, you actually end up at 265. So that's how everyone gets numbers higher than that. They just keep doing 20 more at a time, plus the regular level to get to that number. When you win, it goes up by 2. If a clean win, perfect win. If you just win, it just goes up by 1, and you can't advance. And the second button is simply the player versus player, truly one player versus another player. You have different mines that you can go through and compete against each other. You'll notice that once you get to a higher level, you can go straight to the red chest on just one win. I believe this one's ×4. I think at 340 is the magic number to get just 2 red chests with just 1 victory. The mechanics may change, probably going to be changing here shortly in the future. I know they're currently working on that, so that might be down the path, but currently that's how it worked, and we'll go from there. Now the battle pass on the left, you actually have 3 different ones. If you buy this pass, it's only for the hunt. Same for the assault. It would only be for the assault and the raid. And basically, you get a lot of resources in the raid event, and the assault is about runes, and the hunt is about your towers and spells, and I think some heroes thrown in as well. And you basically have a week for that, starting sometime on Sunday. The bottom left is your chat button. Top is for questions, of course, and the right one is your mail button. Now, if you actually end a battle and exit the game, you'll notice you get system mails with those rewards coming in from here, and it does let you know when your mines were taken. Now what's cool about this, if you haven't noticed before, if you click on one of these, after you take it, you'll notice once you highlight it, there's a details button, and you can actually click on that and see your enemy's towers. So that's a pretty cool thing to go through and see. On the right, do not forget about this. It looks like it might not be too useful, the game guide, but there's a lot of good info in here. The game does change rapidly, so I just want to say that not everything's 100% updated in this. At one point it was correct, but some things have changed. But at least this gives you a good start of where to get some good info. I'd advise just click on every button through here and just kind of browsing through that if you haven't already. The horn button, lots of great information in here. They'll keep it up for a few days, but as you can see, we've got a lot going on here. There's learn more buttons that'll take you directly to the Facebook account. You do not need an account on Facebook. It's public information, so you don't need a sign in. You can click it and read it. So we've got a new season, as I said before, and basically you get different points, and you get chevrons when you win those. It'll let you know about the events, things of that nature, how they work. And we did have a Merry Christmas present, so we got some nice goodies there. Now, this is related to those as well. If you see on the right button, there's a little countdown. These are where the events are located. We currently have 2 events going on right now. There's 2 different types that I've come across. There's the spin the wheel type events, and that's this one. We're going to call it the spin the wheel event with a red. Basically, every time you spin, you have a chance to win these things horizontally here. So I could spin this and get that 5-star spell amplifier. So there's some good rewards in here that you could just get on any spin. Of course, the odds are pretty low on just one spin, but at least you have that chance. Now the bottom ones, as you see, times 5 gives you 500. So basically just take your zeros out. That's how many spins you have. So I have 611 spins. And that would get me to about right here. Now, as you keep scrolling down, you'll notice there's more and more rewards to be had. Good stuff there. There are these events. There are special rewards you only see in these events, such as these 2, the Lady Frost and Snow Maiden. They don't normally drop, so if you want those, you'll have to play a little bit deeper into the events to get those heroes, sometimes towers and awards. And don't forget, there's a little add button at the top. When there's an event going on, I'd suggest first thing you do, go ahead and click that add so that countdown timer can take place. I believe it's about 5-6 hours. You can click it again. So if you time it right, you can actually get that 3 times. Now, I point that out because you can do ads 20 times a day. So you can use those events 2 or 3 times. But you want to go into your cards and go through your tower, spells, and crew. Because if you go to the shards, you can watch ads for these categories up to 10 times per day. So just hit that +1 shard, watch that ad, get that. Now that doesn't work on the PC version, just the mobile version, but you can get 10 of those. And for those other 10 ads, just go into the shop and click the free stars button, the shop button being at the bottom here, and you can then actually finish out those 20 rewards. Now be careful, figure out what time UTC time is to you. Make sure you watch those ads before that time, because it can get a bit tricky if you're watching it within half an hour of that time, because you can still use stars and you may end up using all 20 of those without realizing. So try to do that in the beginning of the day so that you don't forget to use those. And those events are part of that 20 as well. So that's just kind of a daily thing to keep doing. Now the other event is this one, and it basically takes you into a different map. You'll only notice the 1 in here, at least on this particular one. It probably will stay this type of way, but you're given energy. You have 10 energy. Once you use that, it climbs down to 0, of course, and you can actually hit a little plus button, use stars to regenerate that energy. It will give you another 10 energy when you do that. And basically look into the rules of the event to how to do so. Now, if you look at the bottom right, when I go into this event, a red chest appears, and this is where you spend this event's currency. Now we'll show at the top how much currency you have of this, and you can click in the about, and you'll notice that the rating actually goes down depending on where you end up for the day. Take a look at what time it will end, such as 9 hours from now, because that's when your energy will replenish, and the map typically changes shortly around that time. You may end up with one more round of the old map as it's loaded into the game. Give it an hour or 2 and a new map will appear. You may be able to reopen it to force the new map if you do not want to do that one more time. But you'll notice there is a new shop for these type of events in that red chest, and you get a whole new different type of update countdown at the top on these. Same thing with these events, you get special heroes, towers, things that you will not normally see drop. So as with these events, the sandbox type events, so to speak, it's more about quality over quantity, as you can only get a few things, but they're typically really good things. Whereas with the spin the event, you end up with a lot of things till you get to the good stuff, so to speak, unless you play further and further and further. you can't really choose in the spin event what you get, only how much you get, whereas the sandbox events, you can actually choose what type of rewards you want. Just keep hitting that update. I believe it's 20 stars refresh, so make sure you're hitting that free update as often as you can. Now you'll notice there are special runes, such as a snowflake rune in events. I'd suggest trying to get those yellow ones as soon as you can, at least 2 or 3 of those, because it is a little bit harder to come across those. They cost a lot more to rune craft, but they are very nice to have, at least a few of those. So try to get those. In this event, looks like 40th, I think the top 100 get a chevron. So I'm hoping to get my first chevron in this one on my first 100 days. That would be nice. But that's how this event works. There is actually, on these type of events, a competition going on for the sandbox type events, unlike the spin the wheel events. On all of the events, there's a countdown on the right. If you notice these buttons do not appear, just restart the game. They just may not have loaded on your start. If you're not 90, you may be in a different type of event. So if, say, autumn, you may be in autumn and getting autumn leaves. Basically, once you get close to 90 or 90, you'll stay in those events, but it will probably close out, and you'll have to wait about 2, maybe 3 days before you can get bumped into the new style events. That's just so you don't lose those autumn leaves. If you work so hard, you don't just lose those. It's kind of a safety net, so to speak, before you can get into these new events. And that's pretty much the buttons on the side, I believe. Now, once again, just want to point out, with the seasons, there are 2 different types of PvP. So we refer to that top button as the League PvP and the swords as the resource PvP. And if you're watching this later, once again, that probably has changed, but hopefully that'll still make sense to you. At the bottom, you have your card shop ship quest button. Now, the ship has a couple of different things in it. Make sure you're constantly having these things. That's one advice to new players. Always have one of these 3 things going, and it becomes more resource intensive as you go across the map. But just try to at least have something going. Your crew, this is what is actually on your ship. So if you do not have these heroes in the ship equipped, you're not getting those bonuses. So verify that you're having those. And if someone disappears, it's probably because they're in the same group. Just at the top, just sort by group and go across the top. Look at the little symbol on the card and you'll realize they're in the same group. Now, if you're trying to upgrade your heroes, evolve those, you'll need tokens. Your silver and gold drop more often than bronze, currently at least. So basically, just go into this hiring, click this button, and you can exchange gold for silver, or silver to bronze. And that's how you can evolve those further. That's where you will do that in the ship button. Now, this quest actually allows you to take on more tasks. Now, basically, just go on that quest button, and you'll see that you'll end up with more tasks. Now, each one of those will give you a random new task, such as let's see, it looks like I have hero training several times. That's purely random. Kind of a bad example here. You do not get a new hero training for every time you add to that task. You actually get 1 random of any of these things. So I could actually have 2, oh, there we go, 2 heirs. So I do actually have a gathering heir and another gathering heir. Whereas typically you'd have 1 until you increase those tasks. So that has nothing to do with the 1, 2, or 3. That's just how many stars you currently have. So it can be completely random. Actually, by luck, I'm getting several gold helmets in this one. So that's great for evolving those heroes. The missions will reset and have a 1-hour countdown once you do those. So that's basically in the beginning. Make sure you're staying on top of those tasks, as the resource mines are harder to come by. Resources are therefore also hard to come by. So this is a good way to help you evolve so many towers and spells that you'll be coming across in the cards button. Tower, spells, and crew. Now you'll notice you have your actual towers here. At the bottom, when you scroll down, you start getting shards of towers. And like I said, you can hit that +1 button to watch an ad. You can also hit that craft button to get more of those. And typically it will allow you to go one level below, such as this is a red, so I can only go to yellows below it, and they'll only give me 2 in this case. Whereas with red to red, you're allowed 10. Now you'll notice that the foil version is here. It's a 1 to 100 chance. So basically, for every 10 shards, you have a chance to get 1 shard. Everything's about a 10% ratio. So if I used 20 here, I on average would get 2 red shards towards the League foil version of the Banshee Tower. If you go down, I believe it's 50. If you're wondering, if you go from a yellow to a purple, I believe you're allowed 50 shards if you want to go that route. I typically wouldn't advise it. Typically, I just go the round lower for the most part, and the mythics to the mythics. Nothing against doing it how you want. It's allowed, and however you can get to your tower, is the best way for you. And I'm going to try to make some more videos of all the towers and cards and spells and everything I have. But basically, that's it as far as that part in a nutshell. You'll notice you have a count of 260. That's your tower spells and crew all tallied in. If that number is very high, it's probably because you just did a spin the wheel event and were given a bunch of heroes to fuse and level up. Now, currently I'm kind of a card collector in the game. I wouldn't advise that unless you enjoy that aspect of the game. We call it feeding heroes, such as, let's see, we have the headhunter, for example. Let's do it this way. So basically, if you have an aviator and then you get the berserk, probably advised to just go ahead and take all of your aviators and fuse them by hitting the little star button. And he's locked right now, but just clicking on the aviator button and feed him into the berserk so it can increase that level. It won't increase his count, but at least you'll get the attributes, the percentages here to climb up much faster. Makes it a little bit cleaner, easier to see what heroes you have, and level them up much quicker, especially since heroes cannot be leveled up other than fusing at this current time. Now the runes button, currently I have a 605. There's now Rune Crafting. I wouldn't advise going up this high anymore. It does cost a lot of silver to get to this point, because now you can fuse and create. And if you see the little hammer here, it'll put you into the Rune Crafting, and you can start using this runes up instead of collecting so many. Hit that little button here, and you can merge all of your available runes. There's nothing detrimental to it if you're wondering about that aspect. Basically, a blue one is better than 4 reds by a small smidgen of an amount. So in that aspect, you're not losing anything out by getting, a teal rune, so to speak. You can also sell the runes with the little coin button. Now, if you need to sell towers, it's kind of been changed a bit. So if you click on the card, you can't sell it from this screen. You actually have to click on the card and then look at the button at the bottom right, the 3-line button, and you'll actually see that you can sell it from here and lock it. So it's kind of a safety feature to make it a bit harder to sell. And I believe that should cover it. No, actually, if at the top right, there are your resources. This is how many resources you have of everything except event tokens and your silver. You can actually see how much of this you have and how much you're gathering per day. There's currently 2 mines of each of these, and there are 4 silver mines. Your keys, I currently have a lot in the beginning. They're pretty low. You end up getting several in the spin the wheel type events, so that's where you can load back up on those. For now, crystals are only used for evolving mythics. And that should cover it, guys. Make sure you're checking your chest. You can have up to 5 of those at a time, but double click all your resources. Make sure those collect, because they will hit a max at a certain point. But that's pretty much the game in a nutshell. and hopefully you enjoyed this video. It's helpful. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Thanks, everyone.